Tonight's D&D campaign is going to be the best ever.
We're back. We got someone new this time. My buddy Joe, who's calling in from. Where are you from, Joe?
I'm from Los Angeles, California.
Are you currently in Los Angeles, California?
Currently residing.
Are you still in? You live in like Venice, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Still rocking it in Venice.
Sunny Venice Beach, California. I know it's not very sunny right now. It's about, what, 10 o'clock at night?
Oh, even at 10 o'clock at night, sun's always shining.
Oh, beautiful. Nonetheless, Joe, you know how this works, right? You've watched some of this, haven't you?
Yeah.
You were telling me earlier.
We play Pokemon, we fight this Paris, and then we just talk.
Cool. That sounds like fun. I'm glad we're doing this. Joe, why don't you... I know Joe from... I met Joe when I was in college, and I know Joe from all of his music projects and stuff. Joe, why don't you tell us a little bit about that right after you make a really important decision for me. So, if you don't know...
Oh, boy.
In Pokemon, you... As I forgot, Jigglypuff is poisoned right now. When you're in Mount Moon, you get the choice of choosing the Dome fossil or the Helix fossil. Did you ever have to make this decision as a child?
Probably.
But
I don't remember.
You don't remember which is which?
No.
Okay, so you can choose the Helix or the Dome fossil. I'm not going to tell you which ones they are, because I just want you to pick one. What do you think? Helix or Dome?
Wasn't the Helix fossil, didn't that play a large role in Twitch Plays Pokemon?
It did. I think they revere it as some sort of Pokemon god now.
Deity.
Yeah, some sort of deity.
Well, then I feel like we have to go with that one.
The Helix fossil?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it.
And Helixes are more of my my jam than domes, really, as far as geometry goes.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Well, that's like the shape of these is kind of Helix-esque.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think they both look like Helix fossils, to be honest. I'm not sure how far Jigglypuff's going to make it to the Pokemon Center. Anyways, where were we? We were about to talk about your music. So tell me about the projects that you do. Don't tell me. I know about the projects you do, but inform the people who are listening to this about what you do. Sure.
I mean, I have been involved in 2 major projects in my life. The first was Alexander the Grape, which was a band I started in high school with some of my friends, and that lasted a few years until we all kind of moved away. And then now and for the past 3 years, I guess it's been, I've been playing solo as the Limes, and both of these projects have been in the folk punk range of stuff, and more recently I've kind of been experimenting around with doing some loopy guitar effects based things and fun stuff like that.
That sounds super fun. Are you gonna put something out that's all your looper stuff?
Hopefully at some point. The thing about that is that it's I don't know exactly how to record it. I could just record it live, I guess, and release that, but I feel like there's a lot more to experiment with production-wise when you have all of these loops going, and how you can record them as individual tracks and bring them in and out at different times and things like that. So yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
Cool. We have successfully made it to Cerulean City, home of
thank God.
home of Misty and her beautiful sisters. Are you you and your buds doing anything with Alexander the Grape right now? Or are you still all?
Nah,
is Eliab still in Berkeley?
No, I mean, it's basically dead at this point, I think.
It's basically dead.
Yeah, I mean, Eliab lives far away, and Kevin doesn't have a drum kit right now, and like hasn't for a few years. So
I hope one day
he's been doing like DJ stuff that's his musical output for like the past couple years.
That's cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is that going to be the title of this video? Like, rest in peace, Alexander the Grape, for the time being.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, occasionally, like Eliab and I will, just perform together and call that Alexander the Grape.
Yeah.
That's happened.
I think that's the last few
once or
times I've
twice.
seen you guys play. I think I was probably at both of those, or one of those. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, what was I going to say? I'm blanking. I'm sorry. I'm doing this thing. I'm already, like... I'm having problems playing this game and having conversations at the same time.
Well, it's hard to ask questions and play Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, I've been doing this for so long that it shouldn't be hard. But still, it is. I'm trying to figure out how the hell I get the bike. I forget where you get the ticket to get the bike. I know that's going to be real important eventually. But, so, you don't only do those projects, you've been doing the podcast, too.
Oh, yeah. I also, well, that's also kind of, that's not dead, but that's dormant.
I mean,
currently.
I wouldn't say it's dead. I mean, you did a lot with it at first.
What?
I mean, you did a lot with it at first, and I can tell you, it's it's really hard to keep something like that going, like, consistently.
Yeah. I mean, if I had an editor, or, like, someone that was good and, like, willing to do that part of it, I could do all the other stuff, no problem. But editing, it's like every 20 or 30 minutes of audio that I edit takes up like an hour or something of my time.
Okay.
And these interviews would be like an hour to like an hour and 45 minutes or something like that. So it was just getting to be, like a huge project to have to edit these and like put them out consistently. And then the past few times I've tried to record episodes, it's been with like bands that are on tour, and it's really hard to organize.
You have to go to
that
them,
kind
right?
of stuff with people, because when they're on tour, like they don't have time really to just sit down and talk for like 2 hours or whatever.
I mean, the last few you've done, you've gone to them, right?
Yeah.
I remember you, instead of having bands come to you, you've been going to them.
Yeah, I did that a couple times. Like, I feel bad because the last thing I did was with I recorded an episode with Logan and Lucille when they were here, and I haven't edited it or put it up yet because it's just like been a daunting task. And I kind of started that like last summer or whatever, when I was out of school and I was looking for a job. I didn't have a job, and I just had a bunch of free time, so I was like trying to figure out something to do productive, and that was a thing. So it was a lot easier to make time for it too then. And then once I got a job, I just kind of lost, having 8 hours, like there's 8 hours a day gone, like that, and that's like how long an episode would take to edit or something for me. So.
No, totally, I get that. I'm super unemployed right now, and that's really the only reason why I can do this,
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm having fun.
But I try.
Well, I just got
I've
smoked
been trying
right
to get a couple people. Like, if there's someone that I like really admire or that I want to interview, like I'll still try to reach out to them, but it hasn't really worked out the past couple times. The last time was a couple weeks ago. Harry and the Potters played in LA, and I was trying to do an interview with them, and it just didn't pan out because there was no time.
Where did they play?
They played at this real grown-up venue called The Regent in downtown. That was like a pretty big space, and they're pretty big. Like, it's funny because they're kind of like an incognito DIY band. Like, they are, but also because of the, like, you know, they're singing about Harry Potter and stuff. They're so much of their fan base is like not punk. It's like a lot of like little kids and you know, just Harry Potter fans and nerds and stuff. And it's funny because I found out about them when I was in middle school, probably in like 6th or 7th grade, and really liked them. And then in high school, like when I was getting into punk music, and found out that they were actually secretly a punk band, it kind of blew my mind. And there's this great video with Joda George from the band talking about like how it's the band is really a secret like project to try to Trojan horse punk rock into little kids' brains.
Yeah, get those Harry Potter fans to start listening to good music. The reason I asked you where they played is because, like, as of like this week, every cool space in LA is like doomed, right?
Oh my god!
Let's talk about that.
I mean, not every cool space, but 2 major cool spaces, and like part of the problem with LA as a city in general is it's very spread out, and so that makes it like hard to find or get venues like in centrally located places. So there's you know, VLHS in Pomona and Bridgetown in La Puente are both great venues, but they're far. They're like, for if you like live in LA proper, it's like a far ride. And so the Smell and Per Space, which are 2 great venues that are now slated to probably close or something. So
it's up in the air
basically
still.
They're both like in great locations and like very accessible by, or at least I mean for me, like they were just like in the middle of town. And the Smell had a their building was bought by this parking lot company like last year or 2 years ago, and last week the company put up a demolition notice for their building on their door and on their neighbors. So like there's like a section of 3 buildings there, and they're all slated for demolition, and the buildings are currently surrounded by parking lots. So it's actually like it's not that big of a surprise, I guess, but it's really shitty that that's happening, because there's
a big history behind that spot, you know, like it's been there for a while.
Yeah, it's been there since 98 or 99, which is like just a super long time for any DIY venue, but especially I feel like at Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there is another venue that's been around that long.
I was gonna say, I was like, in LA, that's the one that, even when I was like 15, 16, like, when I heard of shows happening in LA, I assumed that they were going to be happening at the Smell. Like, that was the one spot in LA that where there's consistent shows. At least ones that I would want to go to.
I mean, I feel like, in my experience, venues here last, like, a year or 2 years, if you're lucky. And it's just like there's kind of a high turnover rate because of, you know, people reasons, because, you know, people are flaky or whatever, but also like permitting issues, because it's just extremely hard to get to be legal in Los Angeles to do that kind of stuff for whatever reasons. But so then the other space is called Per Space, and they've been around like since I can remember going to shows. So they've been around for like, you know, at least 6 or 7 years, and like that's a that's a really long time too. That's like probably the second longest place.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm sure there's something I don't know about, but that's it. That's a long time. And they got like 60-day notice eviction.
And I mean that just really
adds
adds to the whole like disillusionment in wanting to even like start like an all ages DIY space in a place like LA, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very disheartening to know that if you want to, you know, open up a space where everyone's welcome and you can have bands come through and tour and do all that, there is you know, it's almost like there's an expiration date on that. You have to know going into it ahead of time that all your hard work might be for nothing, which is depressing.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about that with a friend the other day about, you know, I'm living in Temecula right now for the time being while I do some theater stuff, and while I wait to go back to school, and she was asking me why I didn't like throw shows or start like a new space out here, and I had that same answer. I was like, it's a lot of work, you know, and it's very disheartening to see a place that you love, you know, get the doors closed down, and it takes a whole army of people that want to do that to keep a place open. You know, I mean, even look at places like the Che Cafe that, you know, they were fighting that eviction notice for like almost a whole year. You know, like that was pretty insane that they even pulled that off and got the UC Regents to back it and all that kind of stuff. Like that's a story in its own. But enough about that. That's depressing. Do you have any history with Pokemon whatsoever?
What was that?
Do you have any history with Pokemon whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, I had blue, red, yellow, gold, silver growing up, but like, and I was definitely into them, and I have a shitload of cards here at my house still, but it's not something that's like lasted with me, I guess, except for it might be my favorite game, is Pokemon Snap.
Totally.
Is, I think, like one of the greatest games ever made.
I agree with you, and why they haven't ported it to the Wii U yet is mind-boggling.
Yeah,
especially
dude,
since they have the capacity to do that with the gamepad,
or make a new version or whatever. Like, it's everyone loves that. No, I haven't met anyone that hasn't liked that game. And like, to me, if they made Pokemon Snap Wii U or whatever, like that would be a reason for me to buy a Wii U.
Yeah, no, I
that
totally
would be a
get
game that would worth buying the system for me.
I totally agree with you. I was actually talking to a friend. Pokemon Snap actually came up today in a conversation I was having, because we were talking about how there used to be a Blockbuster Video in the town that I'm in right now, and how... Do you remember those machines that you could play Pokemon Snap on, and you could like bring your cartridge and import your pictures? And then I remember there was like a contest, like if your pictures, if you had the highest score, you would win a prize, or you'd be featured in like Nintendo Power Magazine or something like that.
Yeah, well, you could print out your pictures.
Oh no, you could print them. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
that was.
And you can find those machines on eBay still for like, I mean, they're super expensive.
I was gonna say, I think I saw someone posted on Reddit or something that they like bought one of those off Craigslist. That's super cool.
I gotta look this up.
Yeah, look it up. You can be our behind-the-scenes Googler while I'm playing this game. What's been going on with you? Are you working and stuff?
For only $164.
That's it.
That's a good deal.
Hell, if I get a good cut for my birthday this year, maybe I'll treat myself. You know.
Oh man.
By how much is the shipping though?
Okay, well, the shipping's $40. So it's like a $200 purchase.
I mean, I would spend $200 on something like that.
Yeah.
That's really not that bad.
It's not like the whole like display and stuff. It's just the printer.
It's just the printer. I expected the whole display. Because I've seen the ones I've seen online are the whole display.
Yeah.
So when are you starting grad school and stuff?
I'm starting July 5th, so in like a month. I'm starting early in the summer.
Cool.
And I'm just like taking one class, and then
I mean, I haven't really talked to you about that. Tell me about that. Like, what urged you to take that path? You know.
Well, okay, wait. First of all, I found a station on eBay, a Pokemon Stab station.
Oh, you did? How much?
And it's like the whole thing. It's got a TV and everything, and it's $975.
See, that sounds about right. The first one, I was like, that's not bad. I might think about investing in something like that. $900.
And you have to pick it. You have to do local pickup in El Paso, Texas.
Man, I wonder how much that would eventually run us. You know, you'd have to rent a trailer.
Yeah,
it'd probably
this
fit in
thing
my
is
Jeep
fucking
though.
Cool, man. It's got like a controller built in. It's got everything.
I don't even think my car's worth $900. Man,
this is an investment, you know.
I mean, it's a fun idea. You know, maybe one day. One day when I start making ad revenue off of these YouTube videos.
Oh yeah.
I'm just kidding. That's never gonna happen. All right, so we were talking.
Yeah,
we were going to talk about you. Yeah, grad school.
Well, you know, when I got out of school, I majored in computer science, and like right out of school, I was able to get a job, but it was kind of a shitty situation, and it was this company where everyone worked remotely. Like there was no office, just everyone was on their own computer wherever they were in the world.
Yeah.
And they put me on this project that was extremely difficult, and like most of my team was in Europe, so communication was just like shit, because it was just like, you know, we just had like a big group chat, and like most of these people were asleep when I was awake, so I'd have to ask a question in the middle of the day, and then hopefully someone would see it the next day and respond to me. But so they put me on this project that was just like super difficult, and like I think may have actually been impossible, and I was kind of starting to tell them like, hey, if you want to do this thing you're asking me, I think you might need to like redo your whole system. And so then they fired me, basically.
For criticizing their methods. Oh, that's great. Well, someone needed to tell them, you know. That's how companies learn.
I guess technically they had hired me for like a couple months as like a trial period to see how it went, and that's what they thought. But
got it.
But it's fine. I'm not bitter about it or anything. But then it was like August, and I was applying for jobs and like not really hearing anything back. And I went on a couple interviews, but I wasn't. There was like, I don't know, there's weird, applying for jobs, and like that whole process is just so weird, because a lot of the times after you interview and like, you know, you think something went really well, but then like they cancel the job. Like they're just like, oh, we're actually just not hiring anybody anymore.
Yeah. Is that like exclusively for like computer engineering jobs?
It felt like this was like late August, it felt like all the companies had already hired like their student positions, or like, you know, like fresh junior positions. And so I was just kind of like stuck in this weird period where no one was doing anything. And then that kept going on for a couple months, and it was like September and November. And I was like, well, fuck, if I don't have a job by next year, then I need a plan. Yeah. And I'd already thought about going to grad school, because with a master's you can teach community college, and you know, I went to community college before going to Santa Cruz, and like I thought that was a really good experience, and it seems like it'd be fun to do that at some point in my life. So I'd already been thinking about it, so like, well, if I don't have a job, I need a backup plan. So like, well, I'll just do grad school early, because I mean, before I was thinking about, I'll work for a couple years and then maybe go back later, but I was like, well, I'll just do it now. So then I applied, like, it was kind of a last minute thing. Like, I took the GRE, like, twice in December, like, really as close as they allow you to do it, and then, like, right before the deadlines applied to everywhere. But then I ended up, I was going to grad school for computer science again, and I applied to USC, which has specialization in game development, which is like the #1 in the country, and did not think I'd get in, and then I got in.
Sweet. Is that the direction you want to go? You want to go into game development?
What?
I mean, is that the direction you're pursuing, like game development?
Yeah, I guess so.
You guess so. I guess now.
I mean, that's certainly like my favorite part of computer science. You know, is like making games, and I love games, but it's the game industry is also like pretty shitty. So I'm, you know,
why do you say that?
I'm hoping that I can find like a good niche in there somewhere.
Why do you say that? Why do you say the game industry is shitty? Like, is it just is it hard to get like steady positions, or?
So, just on a lot of fronts, like they, like a lot of game companies, you know, treat their employees like, you know, this is all relative, but like, you know, they treat their employees pretty shitty, and like, there's a lot of like overworking done, like what they call crunch time in the industry, where like as a game gets closer to development, like you start having to
deadline
work
based,
like 12-hour days or whatever to meet deadlines, and like you're not getting paid overtime or anything like that. And then when a project's over, often, you know, they'll fire, or I mean they'll lay off a whole team of people because they don't need them anymore. And then there's also like, I mean, in tech and in like a lot of industries, but especially in tech, you know, there's like huge problems of sexism, and the game industry is like probably the worst example of it. And you know, most like AAA titles are like pretty awful, like in their politics, and especially you know, on sexism. And then there's like, you know, military shooters are like one of the most popular genres, and they're like promoting violence and jingoistic as fuck and all this shit. So I'm hoping, you know, to be able to go more into like indie games and stuff, and like make smaller, more interesting projects.
Yeah, like I think that's a big market now though too, is like indie games. And I mean, you probably know more about this than I do, but like, it reminds me of the game that you and Joe worked on when you were in Santa Cruz, the cat one.
Oh yeah.
Cat
Escape, Meow or Never.
Yeah. Is that online to play?
What?
Is that online to actually play?
Oh yeah.
You'll have to send me a link to it, and I'll link it in this video, because
I remember
definitely playing that.
Everyone check out Cat Escape, Meow or Never. That's
Never.
my favorite thing that I've ever made so far.
Yeah, of course I'll include that. That's an important thing in the makeup of you as a human being. Like when I think of you, I think of your music and your podcast and your cool cat game. Those are the three things that I think about. And Shrek. Shrek is probably the other thing.
Oh yeah. Well, for the listeners or watchers, there's the game you play as a cat trying to escape from this house, and you eat mice, and you get fat, and you shoot hairballs, and you climb on stuff, and it's fun and free, and
you do everything you'd ever want to do as a cat, you know? Anything you'd ever want to do as a cat. And the final boss is like a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So brilliant.
I also did a bunch of the music for that. too. That was really fun because I was using this program called Tracker, which is like, it's a music sequencer that emulates NES sound chips.
What's it called?
So it's got like an 8-bit soundtrack and everything, and I did like the main theme and like the end credits theme, and that was really fun and interesting because I've never like done electronic music like that before.
What did you say the program was called?
It's called Tracker. It's like Famicom, except Tracker.
Huh. We'll have to talk about that later. I'm interested because, I mean, I've been kind of fooling around with like some 8-bitty stuff. It's fun. I mean, it's fun to be able to sit with your headphones and like compose something rather than actually having to emit sounds out of your mouth or an instrument. And that's something I'm just starting to discover as a musician.
Tracker is that it's really powerful, and like, you know, Anamanaguchi used Tracker for a really long time in like the earlier stuff. But it's like there's not a lot of hand holding going on, and like you really have to
figure it out. Yeah. I mean, it's probably better than what I've been using. I've just been using like the Mario Paint composer.
Oh yeah.
In like a browser window on like fucking some website, and then recording it out loud of my computer speakers onto my microphone, hoping it sounds good. I mean, it's still fun, but it's stressful. All right, so we just did Nugget Bridge. Do you remember Nugget Bridge?
No, that's something I don't remember at all.
Yeah. I mean,
wait, can we join Team Rocket right now?
No. I don't remember. They're all... I wasn't reading. I'm just literally slamming A through this. I think he just said that they were in Team Rocket or something like that. Yeah.
No, he said, do you want to join Team Rocket?
Oh. I wasn't paying attention. I should know this as like a Pokemon fan.
Oh my god, it's Snake spelled backwards.
Yeah, right? I love the sprites in this game. I talked about this last time. I don't know if you listened to the other 2 episodes. You told me you listened to the 3rd one today, but I did mention you in one of them, and a story that you told me. Yeah, okay, so that was
something I wanted to talk about, because I was watching, I only watched the 3rd one.
Okay.
And in the links, you linked to my Bandcamp, and I was like, oh, I guess you talked about me in this, but you didn't talk about me in it.
Not in that episode. I put all the links in the 3rd video for sure, but the other ones I didn't want to go back and listen to the 3 hours of footage that Jacob and I got to like figure out everything that I listened to or that we talked about to link. And no, I mentioned. I don't remember why. Why did I mention you? Oh, I mentioned you because we were talking about the mountain goats, and we were talking about like conceptual songwriting and stuff, and like really not knowing what a song is about. So I told this story about when you told me that you went to the show that John played solo, and he played that like Bride of Frankenstein song.
Oh yeah.
You remember that? Yeah, I remember that story. And I talked about how you gave me the idea for the Mountain Goats musical too.
Oh yeah.
That was also mentioned. Of course,
I have
to give you credit for that. Well, like I said in the other episode, I can't really talk about it, which is a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's had 3 drafts so far. I'll have to send you one.
Yeah. So, we can talk about it not recorded.
Yeah, we can talk about it not recorded. I mean, I'm really happy with how it's going. It's just something that I'm going to keep working on. I mean, I'm actually taking a playwriting course at Santa Cruz next quarter.
Oh, nice.
To actually kind of get a little bit more experience. Because, I mean, I've read a lot of plays, and I've done a lot of plays, but I haven't written a lot of plays, and I'm really bad at dialogue and stuff like that. So hopefully that'll help me out and help me hone it down a little bit more. But so far, it's come a long way from an idea in a car ride to a mountain goat show to an actual thing now, which is cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know what? Also what kind of inspired me was like to think of that idea was there's this playwright. Well, I mean he's more of just like a music and lyrics guy. He doesn't write books, but Jason Robert Brown, and he wrote this play called The Last 5 Years.
Yeah, I know that one.
And yeah, so there's a lot of similar themes in there to like what's on Tallahassee with like marriage and stuff, and so and something about his voice and like his like funny but depressing style, like some lyrics, like something about that made me think of Tallahassee, and then that made me be like, why isn't Tallahassee a musical?
That, and I think we were talking about like Moral Oral too.
Yeah,
and how they were using songs from
I mean,
that.
that's how I found the Mountain Goats, was because in the 3rd season, like they used a bunch of their songs, and they fit perfectly.
I mean, I love that we're just revisiting all the things that you and I talked about on Probably Punk. I mean, that's practically what we're doing. We're just doing it in a different medium.
Yeah, we only have
now it's a YouTube video.
Set of things that you and I can talk about together. Really.
I mean, I feel like there's lots of things that we could talk about. We can all. I'm sure we have a lot of good stories. Like when I think of stories that have to do with you, I think about do you remember the very first Tochley Fest that we played? And I remember that weren't you guys there for like just when you played? You guys like showed up right before or something? What was the story with that? I don't remember specifically.
No, well, I mean, I came the second day. We were playing on the 3rd day, and like I came the second day and was there the whole time, and then the 3rd day, like Elliot couldn't come and Kevin could only come for like an hour-long period of time. So
that's what it was.
Move our setup to like 3 o'clock instead of like 8 o'clock or whatever, and then he played and left, but I stuck around.
Yeah, no, I remember that because we were going to you were supposed to play around when we were playing, because we were playing later in the day, and I think I was out and about. Do you remember how I found that dog? Do you remember that?
Yes.
I was taking care of that kid's dog.
Kid with the little puppy.
Yeah, the kid who was just like knocked out taking a nap. That was an interesting show, interesting year. But I think I was out because I went with the dog to a Jack in the Box down the street because the dog was hungry, and so I bought the dog a cheeseburger, and the dog and I sat and ate cheeseburgers, and then when I got back, you guys were playing. And I was like, what the hell? I'm like, what's going on? Like, I thought you were playing later, and I missed like almost all of your set, and I was really bummed out because I'd never seen you guys play before. I don't think I'd seen you play, but I don't think I'd ever seen Alexander the Great play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's weird because we should have played a show together in like 2011 or 2012.
It just never happened.
I consider us to be like, we were in the same like Southern California scene at that point. Like,
they were in the same spot. We literally knew all the same people.
We played with Bogsy and Sunny with Tigers and like Ash Williams and
Yeah, we knew all the same people, and for whatever reason, it just never happened.
Yeah. Part of that was we never played at the Dial. There was like a couple times when we almost did, but
I only played at the Dial.
What?
I said, and I only played at the Dial.
Yeah, and then we didn't play. We played at the chain one time, but that wasn't until like a lot later. But we didn't end up making it down there a bunch, but a bunch of the San Diego people would come up to LA a lot, and like Moon Bandits and stuff would go down there. So like I definitely heard of you and like listened to your music and stuff. But yeah, that was weird that we never like met up, and then at school like we just kind of met by chance.
What do you mean chance? I mean, we kind of arranged it, and we showed up wearing the same T-shirt.
Yeah.
We had like met on the incoming students like Facebook forum.
Right.
And I think the immediate reaction was like, why don't we know each other?
Like, oh, hey, does anyone like these bands? And I was like, yeah. I do.
Well, here we go telling the same stories we always tell. Oh, man.
Oh,
So,
I remember another story that I don't think we've talked about before.
Okay, tell me.
I remember it was like the first show that I had ever helped to set up in Santa Cruz was
Paul Baraboo.
with Paul Baraboo.
Yeah.
And like we were able to get you on that show, and well, first of all, I remember like you went first, and you put on a fucking great show, and I was just like, oh god, what did I do? I should have played first. I shouldn't have played after Nick.
No, don't say that.
But I was like outside, because that show was fucking packed.
That was a big show. And a lot of people there.
Yeah.
For our first show in Santa Cruz, it was very successful. Yeah.
But so I was sitting outside, like looking in through the window, basically with Paul, and he was like, you know, there's when I saw like the flyer for this, I saw there's like Just Nick was playing, and there's this guy on YouTube who just demos guitar pedals, and his name is Just Nick. I thought maybe it was going to be him.
That's really funny. Did you know?
Like, you guys, some guy, like a YouTuber, a guitar pedal YouTuber, just did like a live set where they just demoed a bunch of pedals on stage and talked about them.
That'd be really cool. That's something that would totally happen in Santa Cruz too. You know? Did you know that guy has actually sent me emails about removing my content before? I don't know if I've told you
what
that.
Do you mean?
The guy who does the YouTube guitar pedal reviews.
Oh, Just Nick.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Paul Baraboo.
No, not Paul Baraboo. Take your art down from the internet.
I just don't like it. Just take it down.
I'm Paul Baraboo. I'll tell you what to do. No. The guitar pedal review guy, he sent me things before saying like, hey, like, you're causing mass confusion.
Mass confusion. Oh my god.
I don't think I've ever responded. I'm just been like,
Paul Baraboo is confused.
Tough luck, guy. And literally, Paul Baraboo is the only guy who's ever said anything about it. I've never heard that from anybody else. But, that's pretty funny.
So funny that guy's contacted you, though.
Yeah. That was years ago. That was like right when it started.
You're not another guitar pedal guy.
No.
You're playing like mostly acoustic stuff.
I know, it's like the exact opposite. Man, that's a funny story. Did you go out and vote today? Or do you not believe in democracy?
I mean, I don't, but I did vote.
Yeah, me too. I don't know whether to, like... It felt really weird. It was very disillusioning going out to vote today. Do you know what I mean? I mean, did you feel weird about it? I felt weird about it. What? I felt very disillusioning to like go out and vote today. Yeah. Like, part of me didn't want to, but I did anyway because I saw that other people were. Because I guess I'm just a sheep like that. I don't know.
Is this your first year voting?
Yeah, my very first time.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I wanted that little sticker. The little sticker's cool too, right? That's how they get you, man. That's it's like the party favor that everyone goes to the party for. Everyone's got to get a picture on Instagram of them with their I voted sticker.
Yeah. I mean, there's I posted actually the Ramshackle Glory song today.
Oh, I saw
the
that.
Ballots and Barricades, and I don't know. I think that the kind of the views expressed in that song, like, basically sum up my feelings about voting, and I mean, my interpretation of the song, at least, is basically like, you know, you can vote if you want to, and if you feel like it's doing something, you don't. But if you don't vote, like, it's also okay. And there's a lot of things that voting will change, but voting, it has some potential to do some small amount of good. Like,
very well spoken.
There's, like, one of the lines is like, you can't blow up SB 1070, which is an Arizona bill that basically like made racial profiling of people for like deportation okay. Yeah. And like, that was a law that was voted in. So
have you listened to the new taxpayers?
Yeah, I was actually just listening to it right before we did this.
So I honestly think it's like the best thing they've done in a very long time.
Really?
I really, really, really like it. Everything they do is great, but for whatever reason, this one has really kind of struck a chord with me. Just like the song structure wise, I think it's a lot easier to follow than some of their other stuff. And I'm more about simplicity and lyricism now, more than the fast-paced kind of punkiness of it. Story's great, but immediately, have you listened to the song "Fuck America" yet?
Yeah, I literally just listened to the album right before.
Yeah, so that one is one of my favorites, but immediately, like, I really started to identify with that song after I went and I voted today, because the song's all about like how, you're asked to get in line, and subconsciously that you're going to end up back in that line no matter what. And so I thought that was really interesting, how I was literally listening to that on the way there to go to the polling place, and then I went and voted, and then I was like, oh, this feels weird. So, that was the song that kind of summed up my feelings today.
Yeah.
But that record is so good. So good.
Yeah, I really like it. It's not, I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I mean, I think they could do anything, and I would really like it.
Yeah.
I just listened to it one time, so it's like obviously not my final opinion, but I don't know, like, to risk so much for one damn meal, I think is a perfect album. So it's also like the first real, no, that's not true, but it was like the first new album that came out once they had started listening to them.
Well, that one they put out on like Planet X, right? I think that was when they put that one out on Planet X.
Yeah.
And so I think that one was it was just distributed better than the one before that. I couldn't even tell you what the one before that is called. I could sing some of the songs on it to you, but I couldn't tell you what it's called or what any of the songs are called.
It's A Rhythm in the Cages.
That's right. But that one was a pretty big release too. But I didn't even start listening to them until...
There's so much more in Damn Meal, like the horn section on that album is so good, and like I feel like that adds so much to it.
It is really good. I like that album.
Then also, like,
that one doesn't...
God Forgive These Bastards and Cold Hearted Town are both, like, right up there.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I didn't listen to Cold Hearted Town too much. I listened to it once or twice, and I was like, alright. But it's definitely something I'll revisit. And God Forgive These Bastards is probably, like, one of my favorite concept albums of forever. Like, I remember the day that they announced that, like, it wasn't a real story.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Yeah. How in the... Because I have the record. Yeah, me too. So I have the record. I remember reading, like, I was like, this is such a cool idea that they wrote this record about this guy and this really tragic story. And then one day on the internet, they were just like...
They came out with a book that was, like, a companion piece.
There was a whole thing that came with it.
That was, like, expanded on it. And I had read that book and was like, oh, shit, this is real. And, it's funny because thinking back on it, it feels like, oh, obviously, like, this was fake, but...
I don't think so.
At the time, I was so...
they have the tracks...
Okay, there's a couple things in the book that are, like... Okay, at the end of the book, they, like, show these gravestones and, like, these, family tree things that link Henry Turner, like, the main character of the album, with Rob... Taxpayer, like the lead singer and guitarist of the band, as like distant relatives by chance. So looking back on that, I was like, okay, that's kind of a stretch.
That seems silly.
Yeah, I fucking believed it.
I think it was the interviews that got me. You know how they had the
Oh,
tracks with
yes.
the interviews, and
Yes,
they
the
sound
interviews on the
so
album.
good.
Oh my god.
The acting is phenomenal.
I remember when they said it was fake, and then I went back and listened to it, and I'm listening to these interviews, and I'm like, holy shit, these interviews are so real sounding.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Totally. That's... Man, I love that band, and I really hope that more people continue to listen to them.
Yeah.
Alright, where are we at? How are we doing on time? We're looking at 10:56 p.m. So we'll do another, 10 minutes? We'll save.
I'm good.
We saved the best for last. I don't know what it is yet, but we gotta make it the best. The pressure's on now. Maybe we can evolve Jigglypuff or something. I do have a Moonstone.
Oh.
But maybe we'll do that at the end of the episode. This is a little like...
Alright.
Or maybe we'll wait. Maybe that'll be like... I'll be like, alright, next time, this is what we're gonna do. That sounds like a good idea.
A little teaser.
Yeah, a little teaser. But, thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
I know it was kinda
Thanks for
last
having me.
minute.
It's always fun to talk to you.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in forever. I usually just run into you
Yeah,
at
it's
shows
been a
and
while.
stuff. Yeah. But yeah, mostly because I just haven't been in LA very recently. I've been kind of all over California. But that's fun too.
But we did hang out a lot when you were living here. We hung out a lot that summer.
Yeah, we did. That was fun. Do you still see Lonnie at all?
Not really, because we only like knew each other from doing the podcast.
Yeah, just from doing the
Like,
podcast.
we actually met I was in Portland. We were both in Portland at Gathering of the Goof Punks, which is a festival that the taxpayers threw
Man,
for a couple years in Portland.
we just went full circle right there.
Yeah, that was really convenient. And somehow we met there, like, very, very briefly, and just, like, we both had mentioned that we were from LA. And then, like, I think it was some show at the Smell, maybe it was the Ramshackle show, that, like, I ran into her again and we were talking, and then we were just friends on Facebook, and then I put out on Facebook, like, hey, I want to do this podcast thing, like, would people listen? Is this interesting to anybody else? And then she messaged me and was like, hey, I also thought about doing something like this. Do you want to team up? So, like, I really only hung out with her
When you did the podcast.
from doing the podcast,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate because she's really cool and I'd like to hang out with her more, but that was just kind of what happened.
It happens. It totally happens.
Yeah, it's really weird, like, when you have, like, a certain mode of hanging out with people and then trying to transition into, like, different modes of hanging out with them. Like if you, like, there's plenty of people that I see all the time at shows and stuff, but I've never, just, like, gone over to their house and just hung out with or whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, when I'll try to do that sometimes, like, there's definitely people that I want to, like, be friends with more on this, just, like, happen to running into at shows, and it's just, like, it's hard to organize and stuff because it's not what you're used to with that person.
Totally. Friendship is hard, I've learned that through my life. You gotta be active. You really gotta be selfless and think about other people, and I realize that now more than ever when, like, a majority of my really close friends live further away.
Yeah.
And I don't get to see them every day, where you have to actually take some sort of active role that isn't as active as you'd like it to be. Because you'd like to see these people
Especially,
every day and that
like,
kind of stuff.
When you're not in school, like, especially, I mean, despite the college too, but I feel like more high school. Like, in high school, you go to school every day, and, like, there's, like, designated times to hang out, and you're kind of all, like, hating it together, basically.
You have something to bond over.
And it's, like, very, very easy to, at least find your group of people. It's not, like, make friends. And then, like, when you're in college, I still feel like it's somewhat easy to like maintain because you have like everyone's doing like the same thing. And then once you're out of that, it's like you really have to work and to hang out with people and make time and like manage your energy and focus and stuff with people.
Oh yeah, I agree. But there's definitely it's a tough thing. And as you get older, you got to learn to cope with it as it becomes a bigger and bigger problem too.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a problem either. I mean, it's just cool that you get to be close to people in life in general. I think that's something that's important to remember.
And it's something that like I didn't even realize until this like past year. Like it was hard to maintain friendships because I always felt like when I looked at some adults in my life, like I would feel like, oh, they only have like a couple of close friends, and like when I was in high school and college or whatever, I had a lot of friends. So and I was like, I'm gonna try. I want to keep this. Like I want to always have like a lot of friends. And then now being out of college, it's like, oh, I get it. It's really fucking hard to do that.
Yes, it is difficult. Well, I think we should stop it about here. I mean, we got really kind of philosophical towards the end. Nonetheless, let's do our quick little review before we head out. Currently, our sidekicks, Cool Bird, with a question mark, and Ruthless, who's named after a Nana Grizzle album, is they're not doing so hot. Bulbasaur, with an exclamation point.
Oh man, it's doing great.
It's Bulbasaur the Ivysaur is just really going strong for us. Really doing a good thing. Next time on this thing we're doing, we're gonna evolve Jigglypuff. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Thanks to Joe for coming on and talking to me today. It was good to talk to you as always. We'll have to have you on again in the future. Because we all know this is going to take me, goddamn knows, forever to actually beat this game while talking to my friends. So eventually I'm going to run out of friends, and we're just going to have to do a, revisit, and then you'll get to see how we've progressed.
We can tell all the same stories again, and it'll be great.
We can. Or we can just start a new creative project altogether and tell the stories on that, like we do. But yeah, thanks for choosing the Helix fossil. I know it was a really important decision, and I had faith in you to choose the right one. Make sure you check out Alexander the Grape, rest in peace, the Limes, and probably Punk. Also the cat game. What was it called? Cat Escape?
Cat Escape, Meow or Never.
Meow or Never. Beautiful. Check those things out. Links will be in the description. And yeah, do you have any parting words?
Just keep it punk rock. Oh, even at 10 o'clock at night, sun's always shining.